Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I am here with my one and only Ona. Hi, Ona.
Good morning. Good morning.
So it is time for Moon Shadows again. And Ona and I have decided to do this as a regular, what would you call this, Ona? Get together? All right. I like that. Heads up. What a perfect thing to say.
Right.
For the Aries new moon, because Aries rules the head. How's your head, Ona?
Pretty good. Pretty good this morning. I have to say, it's getting time to adjust, giving it time to adjust to the new moon energy. I have to say there's even times when I've had yesterday I had a really heart to heart, like good conversation with a friend, and I was exhausted. I had to take like a 10-minute nap afterwards because it was so much was going on.
So much in your head.
A lot of input. And my moon is in Aries.
That's right.
So, you know.
Yeah. I don't have Aries. I have my part of fortune is in Aries.
Oh, nice.
So it makes me love new things. I married an Aries, so I loved him. And I have a very full first house, right? I have my North Node in my first house. I have Uranus there. I have Mars there. I have Pluto there. So in a way, I'm an Aries by proxy, actually, I would say. Or at least I'm aspiring to be an Aries, or to be, just simply to be, because to be or not to be is an Aries question, right?
Yeah. And it was perfect this morning when you said, you know, I've got and there's things that are Aryan that I need to have done, which I usually reserve for Virgo, and the moon's kind of far away from Virgo. So the aspiring to be is so thematic, right? Like, I want to do this so bad.
Right. It really is an energy of, it really is. I know, well, that's the intention. Like, I don't really want to have to clean my house, right? But so you have an Aries moon. What house is your Aries in again? Is it
because I'm not even.
Is it the 11th?
11th. Yeah.
Okay. All right, the 11th house, the house of astrology and groups.
Yeah.
So apropos. My Aries is in the 9th house. My Aries is in the 9th house. So righteous, you know, truth and justice and all that stuff. All right. So I have my little Aries homage here. I have a little Aries statue. If you see that, my Aries candle. And a couple of weeks ago, Michael found this is cardinal feathers. He found like a, you know, and so he took all the feathers and then he buried, you know, we ask permission when we find dead things, right? So we have some, and I don't think I've ever seen cardinal feathers. Like, they don't usually drop their feathers. No. So it was kind of a boom on cardinal feathers. I mean, it's terrible that the poor cardinal isn't anymore.
Yeah, but that's a rule that we have to appreciate about nature, that can be challenging sometimes, right?
Certainly, yes.
Especially in the Aries season. I'm trying to shoo away the pigeons. They've already done their business, okay? And now they're trying to find a place for eggs. I don't want to host another brood this year.
Right.
You know I'm trying to stop it, but then I'm asking myself, you're stopping entertainment for the other pets you have. They loved it. And, you know, maybe, and they've done, you know, other people are a lot meaner than me when they're trying to get the pigeons away. So we'll see.
I wonder what the symbology of pigeons are anyway.
Always coming home.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I would think peace, right? Because doves are I think in the family of pigeons, right?
Yeah. I looked it up one time in this nice formulaic chart about what my power animal would be. And I had the choice between like this phoenix, this like power thing that rose out of, or a pigeon. And I thought the pigeon actually makes more sense.
Well, and the pigeon is a real thing. The phoenix
Yeah,
is a mythological.
yeah. And I thought that actually makes more sense. So I have this thread, like this empathy towards them. And a lot of people don't like them in the city, and they're tracking them now, and they can be a public health hazard.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like my thing.
So we're in this Aries new moon. We're going to take a look at the new moon. We'll also look at the full moon. Both the new moon and the full moon are pretty powerful as far as aspectually. That's a word I think I just made up. Now we were talking about like usually what we'll do is we'll discuss this before we actually get together. We haven't really discussed much this morning, but we've had, other times when we've discussed about this. And you were saying that the crystal that you were getting was sodalite. Is that right?
This was the one that, every new moon, full moon, I kind of change alters and redirect things. And when it hits me, like, what is going to be? I don't follow the charts and the forms. Well, I need to use this kind of stone for this kind of moon. Right. This is what came to me. And it is, the throat chakra, yep. Integrating our thoughts and our words and articulating and insight and intelligence. So when I was challenged on some of the words I used this past week, I came home and I put this on.
Yeah.
Myself like, and I only take it off to take a shower, and that's it for 4 or 5 days already.
Yeah. Yeah. Because yeah, what was the point I was going to make about that? The throat and okay, keep going. I'm sorry. I had a thought and it went. So let's.
No, it'll come back. It'll come back. So that's why I mentioned it. And I thought, today as I'm kind of writing down notes as we're, our the Aries moon and the sort of burst of what could be, a very charged kind of language, or.
Well, I remember this discussion, why you put is that sodalite around your neck?
Yes.
Now I know why she did it. We're not going to say why, but it was it was an interaction with another person. And, but it happened on the day of Mercury moving into Aries, right? And that was the same night where we had the slap that was heard around the world with the Oscars, right?
Yes.
Mercury in Aries. And the interesting thing is, that this is Aries rules the face. Right. So like a slap to the face, like wake up, people,
Right.
But and then of course, Chiron in Aries, right? We're dealing with these wounds associated with aggression and not being and the rights to be yourself. You just told me before we got on, what is the day today?
Transgender Day of Visibility.
Right. And I have my thing, my rainbow scarf that I got in P-Town.
And this was the card I pulled this morning, but I didn't know this when I pulled this card. The unmasking. It's the be who you are. It's a day we honor that.
Yes.
In everyone, right? That's so cool.
Yeah, be who you are, right? And then the Aries, Chiron and Aries is, we're seeing people, these don't say gay bills and you if you're a transgender athlete, you can't like you have to have like the anatomical, so it's like sport should be fun, right? Sport is about, expressing yourself through your body and competing, but it shouldn't be about winning. I think that they think there's an unfair advantage if there's somebody who's born into a male body decides through their journey that's not really who they are, then they get into like a girls basketball team or something, and then they're like, that's not fair because so like that kind of stuff. But but it's not really, that's not really what that, for me, it's like sports should be fun, not bashing each other or
Right.
beating the other person, right? And then of course we have the wounds of the bully. We saw that at the Oscars, right? We see that every day when we watch what's going on in the Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
So and the last time that Chiron was in Aries was back in the late 60s, early 70s, right at towards the end of the Vietnam War. And a lot of the themes of the Vietnam War and how we treated the United States, that is, treated the Vietnamese people, is not really all that different from the way the Russians. It might have even been worse because we had napalm and we did all kinds of terrible, terrible things, right? So so there's this coming up again, right? And Chiron in a sign is coming up to heal. It's coming up to be aware, and it's coming up to heal the wounds that that occurs. So there's all of these themes of all these Aryan themes, right?
Yeah.
But Aries,
identifying the wound too. I feel like we need to redefine the wound and identify it,
well, you
I
have,
thought,
yeah,
right?
right.
Like
You have to
that
identify it.
curtain has dropped, that with whatever, happened with the slap between, we're not behind screens where there aren't consequences for our actions. We're face to face now. Our masks are off, literally are coming off. And there are things I said behind my mask that I can't say with my mask off in public anymore. Right. So I'm retraining, redefining that.
Right. Well, and of course, the Aries is about your identity, right? It's the I am.
Yeah.
It's the I am. So the waking up. When Uranus was in, was it Uranus? Yeah, when Uranus was in Aries, because Uranus is in Taurus now, that was the time of the Arab Spring, right? When we had all this, energy of, people, saying this is who I can't live this way anymore, and the like. So there is we're becoming more and more aware, I think. It's interesting. I was going through my books. I'm like, what do I want to say about Aries? I picked up this. It's an oldie but goodie, Esoteric Astrology by Alice Bailey. I don't know if you have this book. It's different. It's a little different than regular astrology, but it says Aries is the light of life itself. It is the dim point of light found at the center of the cycle of manifestation, faint and flickering. It is the searchlight of the logos, seeking that which can be used for divine expression. Mm-hmm. So, and so sodalite is, you say sodalite came up. Sodalite is also a crystal of a journey, going on a journey.
Oh, good.
So where do you want to go?
I have to go to Produce World later. I'll let you know when I get there what's next. I don't know. It's to me, it's sometimes it's a day by day thing.
For me, it's always.
That's why I'm keeping it on. I'm keeping it on until I figure it out, really. So
I did pick a Crystal Ally card before I got on today. Yes. And the card I picked was Vanandinite. I don't know if you can see it. It's not.
Yep.
Like, there we go. This is and it is a fire element card. Yep. Yep. And it's the card of power. So I'll read a little bit about this because I picked it especially for this, this get together here. The chakras activated are the sacral and the solar plexus, Svadhisthana and Manipura, for those of you who speak Sanskrit. I don't, obviously. Your affirmation is, I own my power as an expression of the divine within me. And it says, lessons concerning the right use of power and its misuse are fundamental to human experience. The ideas of giving away your power, reclaiming your power, finding your personal power, and using it are everywhere in the spiritual teachings and literature. The difficulty with these concepts is that the definition of power is changing as humanity evolves. It says many people are afraid of fully taking on their power because they fear they will misuse it.
Yeah.
Well, that happens enough to be afraid of it, I would say. Many times these feelings arise from memories of having misused power in past lives or from epigenetic experiences you may have inherited from your ancestors who experienced persecution. Resistance to assume your personal power is usually due to an old definition of power, which was primarily the use of force to compel others to do what you wanted them to do to create the reality you wish to experience. Well, doesn't that sound familiar, right? Sometimes this was done through warfare or outright violence. Other times it was done through manipulation of others to get them to do your will. Now that we are awakening to the new potential for humanity, we recognize this definition and use of power to be out of alignment with higher consciousness.
Perfect.
Perfect, right?
Perfect.
So it says, yes, the message of Venandinite, your power cannot be given away or taken from you. You are the one that is creating your life. It all begins with your energy. You have the inherent power within to change your reality if you choose. Now is the time to focus deeply on your lower Dantian energy center, about 3 fingers below your navel, to calm and center your thoughts and emotions, to connect with your chi. By directing your chi consciously, always seeking guidance, you make clear choices and decisions and take actions necessary to create the direction you choose. One of the things, I was actually speaking to a client the other day talking about this very sort of passionate energy that she had in her chart. And I suggested to her that she might want to take up something like Tai Chi because it does help you direct your power. And it also helps you connect with your power in a way that other things, I mean, yoga can do it too, but Tai Chi is much more, I don't know, it's just a different, I've done yoga, I've done Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Yoga tends to relax me more.
Yeah.
But Tai Chi makes me like really sort of ground my energy because you're working from those lower chakras.
Yeah.
You're you know, what is it, the fire in the belly kind of stuff. So I think it's you know, if anybody out there does Tai Chi or is interested, I think this would be a perfect time to start that practice.
Yeah.
Or restart it if you've already done it before. I think it's a wonderful way of connecting to that and that power, but having it be balanced and not a power over dynamic, but power from within.
We did not talk about this stone before we got on. So my contribution to this, my synesthetic contribution to this is I was picking up on apricots, thinking about the new moon, getting stuff together, picking up on apricots. I was shopping. This is my contribution. Here's your lower chakras, apricot preserves. I went ahead and grabbed a jar and stuck a spoon in it when I got home. I thought there was something. And this morning, as I'm collecting all the data, putting together the soda, like the apricots, it's come up enough for me to mention it. I think it's important. And all the other things. Apricot flower essence balances domineering tendencies. It promotes healthy, positive leadership behavior. So it all makes sense, and we want to assert and be direct, but we need to balance it because it's easy to go overboard.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with Aries. So I'm going to pull up the new moon chart. How does that sound? Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Let me share that screen. This is actually not it.
I'd be readier if I had a spoon.
I know, right? For your apricot. We can wait. I can. All right, here we go. So this is the new moon chart. It is a Aries. I did it with an Aries rising, so it's a neutral chart. So this is archetypically applies to all of us, not specifically to any one place. You can erect these charts to where you live, or to the, if you want to see what this maybe new moon might mean to the country that you live in, you would erect it to the, in our case it would be Washington D.C., right? The capital of wherever it is that you live. So we have the sun and moon at 12 degrees of Aries, and it is conjunct Chiron. We've been talking about all this Chiron energy. We also have Mercury here in Aries. So there's a lot of Aries energy. And so Mercury in Aries is actually, I believe in esoteric astrology, it's one of the most powerful positions for Mercury is Aries, because they see it as the mind of God, right? The mind of the divine coming in to plant a seed of manifestation. And then, of course, we have Chiron, which is the wound. Now, the new moon is actually balsamic to Chiron, because what's going to happen, I think tomorrow, I mean, not tomorrow, the next day, is that the sun and Chiron are going to have their conjunction. I believe it's the next day. And so we're starting a new cycle with the sun Chiron. And what the sun does is it illuminates, right? So there's an illumination of the Chiron, the Aries Chiron wounds. Now, there are two ways to go here, right? We can either express ourselves through our wounds, and if you don't know the wound is there, so we tend to, what we are not aware of, we tend to express unconsciously. Mm-hmm. So while this is a great opportunity for healing of the wounds, it's also going to be an opportunity for people to express their wounds.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be important for us to be especially careful at this time. I think it is a dangerous time in that respect, because you don't know where people are coming from, right? You don't know if they're actuated and they realize what their issues are, or they're unactuated and you're going to bring it out in them, right? Because we usually, yes, go ahead, yes.
I need this.
I understand.
You know what? Another Aries moon being a bad luck. You know what? I'm just gonna sit him on my lap until he calms down.
Maybe he just wants to be part of the party.
Wow, he's giving Cannoli a hard time.
Oh no, is he bullying her?
He wants to clean her face and stuff, and honestly, she just doesn't want to be bothered.
Oh, yeah. So this is a perfect example.
Yes.
Of the wounded Aries.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to do something, but the other person isn't willing, but he's being persistent.
Right. Exactly. So I'll turn off the volume. I'll mute myself until...
No, don't mute. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. This is real life. Oh no, this is real life. So we also, you know, whenever I look at a new moon, I also look at the ruler of the sign, right? So we have to look at what is Mars doing, right? Yeah. Mars is actually Mars is up here in Aquarius. It just recently had a conjunction to Venus. Now Venus has moved on at this point, but it's on its way to a conjunction with Saturn, and that's going to be occurring at, I think, the 23rd. I think it's the 23rd degree of Aquarius when that happens. But we have Mars at 20 degrees of Aquarius. So the energy of that new moon is disposited through that Mars in Aquarius. Mars in Aquarius is also square the nodes of the moon. The nodes of the moon being our evolutionary direction. Mars is also square Uranus. So it's sort of right in the middle of it's sort of at the midpoint of Uranus on the North Node. And the resolution node for this Mars square the nodes, because when Mars squares the nodes, we're not really sure which direction to go in. It's like, do I go this way or do I go that way? It's like you don't actually know where to put your energy. When Mars squares the nodes in this manner, the resolution is the south node in Scorpio. And so it requires us to really look at our own shadow, right? Our own shadow. And as we look at that shadow and understand the wounds that we have, and in Scorpio, it can be sexual wounds, it can be wounds of betrayal, it can be wounds of power over. Scorpio is very into power. And so what we might see expressed in the world is the bully coming with power over, over the people. I'm a little concerned actually for the Ukrainian, for the situation in the Ukraine, because the moon for the chart of the Ukraine itself is at 22, 23 degrees of Aquarius. So that Saturn Mars conjunction is going to be right on the Ukrainian moon, and a moon in a chart like that is the people. So I know they're talking a lot about chemical warfare and all this stuff. That may actually be when something like that comes down. And I think at that point, because they keep saying if there's chemical weapons, it's like they're daring them almost. That's it, right? And then, so we'll see what happens. I say pray for peace and understanding and all of that stuff. But we are, and how we handle that, we might have to get to that point, and how we handle it from there is going to determine a lot about whether we've actually evolved or not. Through this situation, right? Do you have a sense about this? You want to say anything?
I do, and I feel like it's, we're being asked to look at our shadow, and if we don't consciously look at it, it erupts regardless of whether we look at for it or not.
It comes out consciously or unconsciously.
So it's something we need to really be aware of. And I do feel these, I don't know how to explain that, to be careful for, the chemical stuff, the poison stuff. I do smell things that are like gases and tar and things like that. And I think our free air is so poisoned already.
Right.
Don't poison it anymore.
Right.
We don't need that.
I know. And it's just, Aries is the sign of life. And if we want to continue to live, we're going to have to live in a very different way. In a very different way. All right. So let's look at, if it's all right, we're going to look at the full moon now. Because this is so we have the lunation cycle, this new moon in Aries. So then we come to the full moon, which is the halfway point of the lunation cycle. This is when something manifests, right? When something manifests. And we have the sun in Aries still, as at 27 degrees of Aries. We have the moon at 27 degrees of Libra. And the most significant thing in this particular chart is the fact that it is square Pluto. So now Pluto is square the new moon and I mean the full moon, right? The sun moon opposition. And that Pluto is conjunct the United States Pluto. So we are a part of this whole, and it's interesting because the whole Ukrainian thing came down just, I think, a few days after we had our first Pluto return in the United States.
Oh, the 22nd.
Right. So we were kind of, well, I wouldn't say we were pulled in. We've actually been a part of this scenario for a long time, but the attention, like, it came to a head, so to speak. And, and now we come in with this. So we also have, between the full moon, between the new moon, which occurs tomorrow on the 1st, or some places it occurs tonight on the 31st. I think in like England and stuff, it's happening there. It's happening on today. No, not today. No, it's not England. Well, anyway, there's some places where it's happening today. It might be further that way. I'm really bad at that anyway. But now I've lost my train of thought. We still, of course, one of the things we have Saturn square the nodes, right? It's tighter even still, right? That's exact at the beginning of April. So there's a lot of things sort of coming to a head right at the beginning of April. We have the new moon, of course. We have Saturn conjunct Mars at the beginning of April, and we have Neptune and Jupiter making that conjunction.
Now, are Saturn and Mars conjuncting the same time that it's Saturn square in the nodes?
Yes.
Okay, that's just what I needed to know.
Yes. And also Venus. So it's Mars and Venus, the two planets that deal with how we relate. Saturn, which is the structure of our reality. The reality is that we live in, that we're human. We're all human, like humanity. Aquarius is the sign of humanity. And all square this nodal axis, which deals with life and death, and resources and shared resources. So this is, mostly everything, mostly the deaths that and the terribleness that, it is replete in the history of humanity, has to do with this sense of, really is associated with that Leo's, the fixed energy of Taurus and Scorpio, and to a certain extent Leo and Aquarius, the fixed signs. So, everything comes down to greed, and everything comes down to this sense that there isn't enough for everybody, and the wounds of greed and all that stuff. The 7 deadly sins all have to do with that kind of stuff. So, we could imagine what we could do. Like, you see countries getting together to help the Ukrainians as they are, being forced out of their country, and people coming together, and people selling candles, and people just wanting to do good for people who are suffering. There's such an outpouring of compassion. But imagine if we could use that in a beneficial way. We don't need war to get us there. Why don't we just love each other and start working together and start building things and creating a society and a world where, we don't have to have the haves and the have-nots. We just have the who's, or the what's, or the, what I'm saying?
Oh, we have to create it, because we're conditioned to only have awakening after crisis,
right.
And awareness after chaos. So we sort of propel ourselves into the next chaos, because after chaos there's an awakening. There's this surge of empathy we didn't know we had. So what's the next thing after COVID and a war? We have to start, it should be a homeostatic place to always have that kind of awareness, but we have to make it our darkest hour before the door opens.
Right. And I think that's the nature. I want to just see you in full view here. There we go. I think it's the nature, it's our nature. According to esoteric philosophy, humanity is a fourth ray of the 7 rays. I don't know if you've heard of the 7 rays.
Yes.
Fourth rays, right? Harmony through conflict. That's how we learn.
Harmony through conflict.
Right. So as I understand it, the first thing that happens is that we expand, or we grow in concentric rings. So when you're like a baby and you're a year old, your concentric ring is this big, right? All you really care about is where mommy's booby is, if you've been breastfed, or that you're fed, and what's that expression? Fed and diapered and happy. There's an expression that's used with babies, right? And then as we start to become aware of other people, and then we start to be aware of, school, and we're interacting with other children and interacting with our families, and the concentric rings get bigger and bigger. But there's a point where we have to sort of break through to the next concentric ring. that's the awakening. And after the awakening, what happens is you're in a whole new place.
Yeah.
It's a place of confusion. So it's like somebody, it's like I'm awakened, and then the next thing that happens is somebody drops me in the middle of Chicago without a map. And I have to, and I'm disoriented because I don't know where I am. And that's what people are very disoriented now. They don't know what's up, what's down, what's happening, what's not. Their whole world has been turned upside down. So now the next stage is to understand where you're at, and then you start to understand your environment. And then as soon as you sort of mastered that environment, you have another awakening. And so it's this progressive sort of concentric ring, and that concentric ring gives you a bigger and bigger and bigger awareness. And of course, I think energetically, you know, everybody talks about this fifth dimensional stuff. Like, what's the fifth dimension? It's not just a bunch of black singers from, well, Marilyn McCoo is from Jersey City, so I love her. But, you know, it wasn't just a bunch of soul singers, right? It's an actual state of being. It's a consciousness. And the difference between the fifth dimension and the third dimension is that the fifth dimension is the consciousness of the heart. And so we don't judge from the fifth dimension. We observe, we understand, and we try to enlighten in whatever way we can. So it really is about sort of our challenge now is to move out of our lower chakras to a certain extent and raise that Kundalini energy, because the Kundalini sits in the base chakra. As we raise it up and we raise it to our hearts, and then we raise it up to, you know, and we have the Kundalini or the awakening experience, we have to bring the energy up here. That's where we need to come from now. And so not everybody knows that. Not everybody's evolving at the same rate. Not everybody has that awareness. I didn't have that awareness 20 years ago. You know, the more you seek the light, the more you find the light. And with Aries being that light that shines, the light of it's the light that the divine looks to work its magic, really. And so where is the magic? What is it who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? What, you know, do you want to be a conduit for the light? You know, it's your choice. Everybody has a choice, and it's, I don't know. I just find that the choice for me needs to make me feel like I'm contributing. Like, that's my choice. Whatever I do, I try to do it in the vein of, how can I be of service in this situation? Not everybody comes from that place, but you know, wherever that place is for you, you know, I think is and where Aries is in your chart. Like for you, it's in your 11th house, which is your house of friends, and and you know, this kind of thing, talking to your friends over the internet is very, very Aries, you know. I have it in my 9th house, which is my beliefs, like what I believe to be true, you know, and my sense of what is true and what is just and what is, you know, or my knowledge, you know, sharing my knowledge. So so wherever Aries falls in your chart, whatever house it falls in, is where this new beginning starts, I think. Do you know what time Gibs was born?
I have no idea. I just have the date.
Interesting. I'm not surprised he's got a moon in Aries, though, right? Just
you could tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's tired now. He's sleeping. He had enough.
Oh, I think he just wanted his mom.
Maybe, right? Yeah, he just needed that like little time, but Cannoli just doesn't contribute to a lot of entertainment for him anymore.
Well, she's old, right?
Yeah. So he's, you know, he gets really worked up, and I try and take him away or take him out, but he needs another dog.
Mm. I was saying to my husband, I think Charlie needs a kitten to
Yeah,
take care of, like a little like girl kitten or something,
yeah,
because Charlie is so he's so needy. He feel like
yeah,
he'll like just lay on you for like he has to have his like moments where he just lies on you, which
right.
I don't mind because I love my cat, so I let him. But sometimes you're in the middle of something and he needs the attention right then and there, and you're like, oh God.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he won't
That's
stop
why
until
I
you give it
got
to him.
cannoli. Yeah, I got cannoli for giblets. So he had somebody to play with because he was so needy and so clingy. And she just sleeps and eats pretty much just too much for that. So they had a fight the other day. I was surprised. I haven't seen that in a while.
No, she's still got a little spirit in her, right?
A little fire. Mhm.
You don't know what sign cannoli is, do you?
I got her in May. She was a breeding mama. I think she's got some Leo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's got some Leo. I don't know.
So, anything else that it comes to mind at this time for you?
Um, I think we have a good like diving board there for people to, you know, become aware, using crystals or apricots or whatever to things that can kind of balance you, even thinking about the word balance,
Mhm.
um, recognizing that in other people,
I
that's
wanted
really hard.
I wanted to pick one more thing before we go, and that's a rune card. Um, and hopefully I brought my book that goes. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I actually love the runes more than I love the rune cards because I like the feel of them.
Yeah,
Have you ever studied the runes?
I never have.
Yeah, they're very ancient. They're one of the more ancient. It's like one of the first alphabets, right? From the North, the Nordic alphabet. And it's very much connected to the earth. And of course, because that was their reality. They didn't have cities and universities
Yeah.
like we do. They would, and it was a hard scrabble life,
Yeah.
living in the northern climes of Europe, right? So let me pull a rune card. So this is, what do we need to be aware of for this new moon in
Yeah.
Aries via the rune cards?
If it isn't a complicated system, I might engage.
Oh, right?
What
Don't you want to know? Didn't you want to get his number? I do. Ing, Ing. It's funny. I pulled this card the other day I'm trying to remember what I was doing with this. I might have even done a video on it. See how I'm terrible. I don't remember anything. Oh no,
is
everything.
it on the scope, on the taroscopes?
Yes, yes. Thank you. And I can't remember which. Maybe it was Air. I think it might have been Air. Wouldn't it be funny if it was Aries? I
I'm
don't
gonna
even
look.
remember.
I've only watched my sun sign so far.
Yeah, yeah. You got to watch your moon side. So you
Because
got to.
that's something I have to sit and watch. Sometimes I can just listen,
Right.
and like in your morning videos, I listen. But if you're doing something, you're like, oh, look at the bird. And I run in here and I probably takes me 3 or 4 takes to actually get through that video because I want to watch, what's happening outside and stuff.
All right. Let me. All right. I usually just flip through the book, but I'm gonna save time here, and we're gonna look. We're gonna actually. I think it was. Oh, anyway, I don't know. Let's see. In 59. This is so funny that this came up twice.
Yeah, it's charged. There's something.
And of course, we have this beautiful man, right? Coming up like an Aries. Like the symbol
Yeah.
for Aries is the horns of the ram, but
Yep.
it's also the primary leaves, right? It has
Mhm.
because Aries is it's about emergence. The
Yeah.
energy of Aries is emergence. So something is emerging. And of course, because it's new, something new is emerging.
Yeah.
Says,
You need to plant some seeds too if you have. I can't honestly tell you what it is right now, but definitely lettuce is good to plant right now. Spinach, your cold stuff. Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ing, and of course, spinach has a lot of iron in it, and iron is actually the metal of Aries. The metal of Aries is iron. Says ing is Danish Anglo-Saxon name for Freyr, the god of agriculture and fertility. Freyr and his sister Freya was adopted by the Aesir from their rivals, the Vanir, a neighboring tribe more concerned with agriculture than warfare. Freya is often described as traveling around the countryside in a cart, attended by his followers, and bestowing fertility and prosperity wherever he went. A similar older version of the story is told about the followers of the goddess Nerthus, or the Norse Mother Earth, and it may be that Freyr and Nerthus were one and the same. It says divinatory meanings. Physically, Ingus represents the earth and nature, but particularly as it relates to us and how we relate to it. So this is about a new relationship with the earth. It is the farmer and the laborer, and represents hard but satisfying physical work. It represents the body, and its appearance may indicate a need to get in touch with one's physical self. And of course, that's very Aries, right? Because Aries ruler Mars rules the muscles, and the tendons, and is there something else?
And getting ready for your spring, getting outside, or if you're on the opposite side, preparing to hibernate your body.
Yeah, if you're on the other place.
On the other, yeah.
Psychologically, Ingus represents how we perceive ourselves as physical beings. What's that? What's today's day that you said?
Oh, transgender day of visibility.
There you go. So how we perceive ourselves as physical beings. It is a person who has a healthy body image, is well grounded in reality, and is well balanced in their outlook on life. This person who has come to terms with who they are and what they look like. And then lastly, spiritually, this rune represents the internalization of the spiritual qualities of the four elements: knowledge, will, empathy, and silence. It indicates a complete inner harmony with oneself and one's environment, and frequently appears when reading someone involved in the more advanced levels of pagan spirituality. So this is the book I get this from. It's called Rado. Rado, and Rado is it's a journey, and the interesting thing about Rado is there's a rune called Rado, which is about the journey, and you picked Sodalite, which is about the journey. So the journey begins, my friend.
Yeah, we are not separated. We are all connected, and I think we showed a lot of that.
Yeah, well, it's
interconnected. Everything is.
There are no coincidences, right? Everything is shown. The symbols and the signs are everywhere. We just have to open our eyes to them.
Yeah.
And then I think navigate them through our intuition and our feelings, and see how, and our gut in some cases, see how they make us feel and what we need to do about it. Well, Ona, this has been, of course, as always, a wonderful experience with you. I will see you again next month for the new moon in Taurus. Woo, that's a hot one too, but we'll talk about it when the time comes. I love Taurus. It's like my favorite time of year. It's like it's warm, everything's growing, and not all the bugs are out yet.
Yes.
So
and the temperature isn't extreme, and maybe we could do it from the garden center. I'll be at the garden center.
Oh, that'd be cool. And I can do it from my garden.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, we'll have to figure out how we're going to do
that. Exposure. Put some seeds in dirt today, even if it's an orange, or something you ate, an apple or something you ate today. Just stick it in the dirt. Okay, just again, let's see what happens.
Yeah. And yeah, and do some mystery seeds maybe. And one of the things that I really wanted to plant this season, which we try to plant, but every time we try to plant it, the chipmunks eat them all, is some sunflowers.
You got to put a cage around your sunflowers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to cage them.
Sunflower and catnip needs a cage.
Oh man, they climb. There's so many people because it's to watch it grow and to give it support and try and harvest it. It's just amazing. People have such a hard time. You got to put a net around it and sensor lights and stuff.
That's because everybody wants them. I love them too. I always think, oh, I'm gonna have sunflower seeds for after they're done. But the squirrels will like climb up, gnaw off the top, and then drag it to their or the chipmunks, whoever. But
oh yeah. Yeah, and they leave you nothing. It's like shells. They like clean up this mess.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, Ona, as always, it's been a real pleasure. We will both see you next month. Have yourself a great month, and keep your eyes peeled for what's on my channel and what's on Ona's Tarot. Right? It's always interesting. I love your doll, by the way. The doll-umentary.
Along. She's got her wings. I brought her with. We've been having some issue. We got a little scraped up. I have the wings on her permanent. So the wings are on. I haven't clipped this. I don't know if I want to decorate this, but once I cut them, they're gone. So I have some kind of antenna thing going on. Only the one shoe, the other one she's not crazy about. The geode that I have for her to hold on to is really challenging me. And I don't know how I'm going to wrap it in wire or whatever, but she'll be holding it. I can't drill through it. But as I was running around yesterday trying to figure this out, I thought, this is the part that I really love. The challenge, like, how am I going to get that to look like it's floating in there? Right. So
I would try some wire wrap.
I did a wire thing. It just looks it didn't look right. I used a lot of wire to kind of figure that out. And it doesn't hold it. The cage is still a little loose. So I'll figure it out. I might make a mojo bag or something for her. She'll get it right.
You'll get it right.
I'll get it right.
All right. Okay, guys. Bye, everyone. Much love.
Bye.
Namaste.
Thank you.